started.
Good evening. It is me, the Nobody Asked Me guy. Listen, I'm excited this evening about being here. We have a fantastic guest with us, Mr. Ryan Singh. And Ryan's going to tell you a little bit about him, but I don't want to steal any of his thunder. But as we introduce Ryan, I just want to share a little bit about Ryan. And Ryan is a phenomenal guy. And he's been very kind to take the opportunity to share with me and have us have the opportunity to meet with him. As a matter of fact, and Ryan will probably share that with you. He at this very moment is preparing with his son and daughter. They are doing a shoot themselves in the morning, but he was kind enough to stop and chat with us a minute. But let me tell you a bit about Ryan. Ryan has got Guyanese born. He's an actor, director, producer. In 1993, Ryan immigrated to Canada. He was focused on becoming an actor. He began developing his own projects, producing for stage, television, and film. His former a strong community network, he started acting, directing, producing, and advocating for the arts. Through his company, Ryan Singh Enterprises, Ryan's work as a performer or creator have shown on City TV, Global TV, CTV, Rogers TV Planet, Africa and Canada, ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, Netflix, Amazon in the US, and as well as several notable channels across the Caribbean. Now, as you guys can see, this is a Renaissance man. As I said, I don't want to take all of his thunder. I want to give him the opportunity to share some more things, but give me this one last piece, and then I'm going to get out of here and let Ron share with us. But as an actor, Ron has appeared in such films as Alexander Payne's Downsizing with Matt Damon, Facial Lunch Media's Mr. Crab, which was the top 9 Canadian finalist for CBS's short film Face Off in 2013, Sidney's Fury, Conduct Unbecoming, and Sasha Morik in Matthew Bennett's action film 11 Blocks. He also stars in Ryerson University's thesis film Fireworks. Now, again, as you guys can see, this is a real Renaissance man, and we're just really happy and pleased to have Ryan here with us. Hey, Patricia, how you doing? Bobby, we're glad that you guys joined us, and you're just in time. Ryan is here, and Ryan has his baby with him, whom he'll introduce. Actually, he has both his babies with him, and they are actually getting ready for a shoot in the morning. So, Brother Ryan, it's all you.
Hi, thank you for having me, Mr. Melvin Lars. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you and talk about my tidings in the business, and my daughter is really excited as well. She's looking forward to, after the chat, going and doing the swimming pool, and I asked her to just sit around and wait on me while I do this for an hour. So.
Yeah, she's a real cutie, man. She's beautiful.
Okay. Say hi.
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, use your phone.
Okay, Ryan. Yeah. Okay, Ryan. I have a quick question. Obviously, we can see that she's a very beautiful young lady, and most men like to feel that our girls look like their mothers. Now, I can see some resemblance there with you, but can I say that she's beautiful because she looks like her mom? Can I say that?
Yeah, she definitely looks like her mom. The brother looks like me. And, okay. We were lucky to have one of each. So it's
fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, Ryan, while you have your baby there, let me read a little bit more about Ryan. Now, as a director, Ryan has worked with such projects as Curse of Ham, Sweet Corella, and Sex, Relationships, and Sometimes Love for the stage. Okay, in addition,
I like to say sex, relationship,
talk about it.
And sometimes love.
Okay, sex, relationships, and sometimes love. Well, listen. Would you like to elaborate on that piece a little bit, Ryan?
Yeah. When I first went to LA, 9 years ago, just before I got married, I went to LA. My wife says, I'm not getting married to you and then be blamed that you didn't get to pursue all the things you wanted to do. So I went out to LA and I was looking for work, and I happened to come across this play, and got cast in it. And coming back to Toronto to my nuptials, I asked the director if I can bring it to Toronto and introduce the Canadian audiences to it. So it was one of my gifts to LA that I brought back to Canada and shared to a resounding applause. And a number of actors, we had over 40 actors that participated in the production here. So it's played over 8 or 9 years in New York City, off Broadway, wow, in LA for a number of years now, and at least a couple of years here in Canada. So I was happy to be a part of that production.
Fantastic. Well, heck, man, you know, since we're talking about the productions, let's move on down the page a little bit here. You also directed for OB Entertainment, the talk show pilot All Out, you know, a web series pilot Unharnessed, which received an O'Brien Award nomination for Outstanding Broadcast, and Fried Bakes and Dumplings.
Fried Bakes and Dumplings.
Yeah.
In the Caribbean, if you're from the Caribbean, you have two schools of thought around that flatbread, baked bread, dough bread kind of delicacy cuisine, morning breakfast type meal. So the Jamaicans call it a dumpling, and Eastern Caribbean people call it fried bakes. The Jamaican would argue, how is it when it's fried? You know, that sort of thing. So I did a documentary on early settlers of Caribbean people to Canada, like who had come here some 40, 50 years earlier, how they traveled and the experiences they had. And because I had people from across the Caribbean, I wanted to pay homage to that sentiment of fried bakes and dumpling, at least to get people in with their mouths watering and get their minds open.
Well, heck, according to this, Ryan, evidently you must have accomplished what you were after, because I see where you won an Audience Choice Award at the Jamaica's Gas Fest. So mission was accomplished.
Well, I've been going to Jamaica Gat Fest for the last 4 or 5 years now. I took my first project, Mom, in which both my kids were featured prenatally, actually. So when my wife was pregnant, I had a question about what role models as a single father, what kind of role models do I have around me that I can pull from to be a good father. And you know, my mom was single parent. I looked at my father, his experiences with his multiple wives. He's still getting babies. He's making babies. Every time his children makes babies, he makes a baby to show them that he can still produce. So, you know, so that's the example I have. My grandfather, his obituary read, Mr. Saul was a man that didn't know how to say no. So he had 7 in and 7 out.
Okay.
So
okay, Ryan. I just want to give our audience an opportunity. Even though we haven't gotten to our question and answer session yet, I'd like to give them an opportunity if they want to. We have 2 open spots. They are more than welcome to come on and to ask you questions. Absolutely. And to share. So I want to give them the opportunity. They feel so inclined to come on and join us. And if they have any questions, please share those. But, you know, Ron, as I look further down your sheet here, man, as I said, you know, you're just a real Renaissance man. And I'm seeing here where you co-directed the film, I'm Rasta, which was nominated for Best Short Film at the Reggae Film Festival in Jamaica. And then, of course, your personal, intimate, autobiographical documentary, which you just talked about, Mom. I watched that, man. It was very impressive. Actually, I was hoping that it was longer, because I too was reared by a single mom, and I'll get into that later. But please continue.
I just put a link to Mom here on the discussion side messages.
Okay.
Yeah. In my search quest, I decided to settle on a conversation with my grandmother, it's assumed that my maternal grandfather was killed for his adultery, sleeping with another man's wife.
Wow.
At least that's what my grandmother contested, and so I wanted to understand what her love, what her relationship was like before the separation, and how she viewed him following, when he had a couple of children outside of their relationship, when their relationship had dissolved, and even when they were married, he had a child outside, what that sort of relationship was like. And in exploring that, while trying to understand my own need as a father, I started to ask my mother questions and my wife questions about how her experiences with me as a husband and as a potential father of twins, what I was like to her, and how what her experiences were like with me. And so it became an interesting story, the one that you ended up seeing.
Yes. You know, Ryan, I actually I was very impressed with that. And I want to ask you as well. And I know Patricia is here, and she may want to comment. You know, I just finished a book called Mothers and Their Men, an
Yeah.
introspective look at mothers rearing their sons. And as you share that, that was always my curiosity. You know, we hear so much about single parents and absentee fathers and this, that, and the other. And I just felt very strongly, because my mother and I have outstanding relationship, as to, you know, what do people, and moms and sons, quite honestly, really think about one another, and the process, you know, because maybe the dad chose not to be there, or maybe they just couldn't get along, and that kind of thing. So as you share that, and as you share with us about your grandfather, unfortunately being possibly losing his life because of adultery, you know, those kinds of questions, not that particular question, but those were questions that I posed to a lot of moms, you know, about rearing their sons, and how did that affect their abilities to rear their sons. So that's very interesting. So please continue.
Yeah. And these are all questions that I ask, and I put them into my work as well. So as a storyteller, as an actor, I bring these questions of my own humanity to the pieces I play. And
Okay.
I find it very cathartic. And so as an actor, I enjoy delving into the deeper psychosis of the human experience.
Wow, that's heavy. That's heavy, and
Not heavy.
that's heavy. But you know, when you mentioned the psychos and experience, I'm glad. Can I just share? A lot of people are asking me, and literally, and I'm trying to say this gingerly, because there were some women that I interviewed when I was writing the book Mothers and Their Men, who became somewhat offensive with some of the questions that I was asking. And then, as you just shared what you shared, it became difficult sometimes to get them to actually open up, because, as you mentioned, the psychosis, etc. Unfortunately, it opened old wounds. They were sometimes embarrassed, and so that's very, very strong that you made, and it certainly speaks volumes to me. And hey, man, it's great to see that Dr. Vibe has joined us, and I hope that he click on and come on and be with us. And the floor is certainly open. Patricia is here, and another one of my friends. He came on early. Bobby is here. So you guys jump in anytime. But go ahead, Ryan.
Just the human experience is such a difficult thing to do. Like, even in my own marriage right now, not marriages, but marriage. I find that oftentimes, and I keep observing this, is that you can be the most powerful person in your world, but when it comes to relationships of the heart, things that matter to you, you are so vulnerable. And I think the
Yes.
biggest part is we keep being people pleasers, trying to please our partners, our spouses. And in so doing, we continue to lie to them because we don't want to upset the apple barrel, so to speak. And so it's one of the things that I find myself in navigating with my wife. Sometimes I know I should tell her the truth, but I know the truth is going to hurt her so badly, and I negotiate it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going down a dark alley, and okay. So, but this is about acting and producing world. So talk to me about, ask me questions around that.
Okay, I just wanted to give you an opportunity just to share, but for those that have joined us, as we did not state earlier, but on our marquee, this show is about the highs and lows of the entertainment business, and we just want to take the opportunity to get to know Ryan a little bit as we talked about the things that he's doing. But before we get to the questions, Ryan, I would like you to talk to us a little bit about the breadwinner, if you would, or you might want to save that till later.
We can talk about it at any time, whenever you're ready. What are the questions around that?
Okay, well, primarily, we'll hold off on the breadwinner, and I would like to start off with our series of questions. And one that you kind of talked about in your biography a little bit, but I want to pose it again, just in case some of our listeners just joined on with us. When did you realize or discover that you would pursue entertainment as a profession? Was there a light that came on in your head, or this bug bit you by accident? Can you kind of share with us how that came about?
I think the first time that I experienced the light, so to speak, and when you're in a small country like Guyana, there's no lights, so to speak. So we were in a community center, and I was on stage, and there was my spotlight. Having had an opportunity to, my dad says, "Hey, son, come on up and do one of those poems you learned at school." And I went up and I did it, and the applause was so resounding that I was like, I want to receive those applause as often as I possibly can. And so for the last 35 years or so, I'm 41, 42 this year, I've continuously and ongoing had a pursuit of finding my way in the entertainment industry somehow or the other. And it hasn't been a great ride in that I haven't, if I look at everything, I'm not the successful actor that I am. But if I look at everything, comparatively speaking, I'm living my dream as an artist.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Listen, do you have elder family members that are involved in the entertainment industry? I know a lot of times, I know you said there weren't a lot of lights in the area where you were reared, but that does not mean that you may not have had it may not have just been in your DNA anyway. Did you have family members that had a propensity to be involved in theatrics or wanted to be thespians?
Yeah, my father is a writer, theater producer, actor. He had written a seminal piece called Berbice Uprising in Guyana, and in 1982, it was just a resounding performance of success, capturing the story of Kofi, one of the leaders of revolution during the slavery times in 1763. And my father is a historian and a well-read person, and he was able to encapsulate that in a play about what that battle was and how it was. And so, for me, I admire his pursuit of the arts, his work. And when he had moved from Guyana to Canada, I would religiously watch his theatrical plays that he was sent back on videotape, and just daydream going to the movies, watching Indian movies and such, and just daydreaming, always see myself on those screens. So now that I have that opportunity to play and to perform and to act and to build. Like I worked on the Designated Survivor in 4 different capacities. For example, I was on season 1, I was a background performer. On season 2, I was cast as an actor. On season 3, this is not giving anything away, I was able to work on set as a creative person, helping to build a set, and then as during the shooting as a grip. So it's like I have since quit background last summer, because after doing it for 10 years, it wasn't getting me any closer to the passion of creative involvement in the film career. So as a technician, being a grip, being a scenic, being a carpenter, directing and producing, it has reignited my desire to be in the film industry and to create. Because as a creator, we get to really design the world that people get to see themselves in. And oftentimes, as a person of color, we often say, I can't see myself there. And I don't want to have that excuse for my children to look at and say, we can't see ourselves there. And that's why even now I'm encouraging them to not just be consumers, and you probably can hear them in the background, not only be consumers of content, but also to be participators of the content, be the creators, be the artists that, and they love watching themselves as well. So it's a circle of love for me, being an artist.
Wow. Well, listen, that's very interesting. Can we change lanes for a moment? Because you said something that was very interesting to me. And again, let me encourage Dr. Vive, Patricia, everybody, guys. Hey, join in with us. When you mentioned being reared by a single mom, but the influence of your dad as far as being a writer and doing those kinds of things was still with you. Can you share a little bit on just how you were able to meld that together at the same time missing your dad, however, admiring and having had enough contact with your dad to admire some of the work that he was involved in? Can you kind of put that together for us a little bit and kind of share just a little bit, and then we'll get back to the other questions?
Absolutely. Both my mom and my dad are entrepreneurs, hustlers, survivor of circumstances. My mom was an insurance saleswoman, and when that dried up, I remember at a tender age of 6, 7, 8, 9, traveling with her across. Guys, I'm working right now. Please keep it down. Yes.
That's okay, man.
6, 7, 8, 9, working with her, going and traveling to pick up contraband, because Guyana was in a recessive state at that time. There were controls put on imports, and so we would go and pick things up and bring them to the market and sell them. I remember at 11 years old, I was importing things from the hinterlands of Guyana and selling them in the township. My father, he left Guyana when I was about 7 or 8, 8 years old. I remember he's been a Rastafari as long as I've known. And I remember one time I was at his place just spending the day, and he gave me marijuana, and I fell asleep, and it was just in a dazed kind of state. And my mom was like, if you ever give my son marijuana again, I will report your black ass to the police. And so, but as children, we admire our parent figure. And I look at my kids admiring me for good or for bad. And that's the fantasy I grew up with of I'm so much like my father, or like my fathers, depends on whether my mom was in a good mood or a bad mood. She may call me some other name that because it happens in families.
Yes, it
So
does.
I have to clarify: am I this man's son or this man's son? Am I the son of a prince or the son of a thespian? Am I the hero of a hotel chain, or am I guys? Yeah.
Hey man, listen. That was great. I know a lot of men and women who would fit the category of being reared by a single parent, etc., but having had the experience of being able to interact with their father and were able to kind of meld the two worlds. It does open your eyes, and man, that's a great story. That's a great story. But listen, I guess we'll get back to the questions. I want to change the whole topic now and just talk about that because that was really intriguing. However, I won't. I'll stay where we are.
I'm available to go any lane you want to go on. I'm good.
Okay. Well, listen. Can you share with us 2 or 3 prerequisites that are a must before deciding to enter the entertainment industry as a professional? And I clarify that statement by this. We are all pseudo entertainers. I think if we're honest enough to admit that, we're all pseudo entertainers because we have to put on various faces for various situations. But can you share with us 2 or 3 prerequisites that are a must before deciding to enter the entertainment industry as professionals?
2 or 3. 1, you must.
How about 1?
You must have passion.
Okay.
It's not about the money. Every time you go to sleep and you wake up and you feel like you can do nothing else, when you go to that day job and that night job or whatever hustle you have to do, and you're still thinking, man, I gotta entertain. I gotta be part of that creative team to, like, every day I wake up, even right now, part of my job that I do is being a contractor in construction industry. But I imagine the sets that are like right now being shot is Star Trek in Toronto, Designated Survivor building the White House. Those kind of things. It's like that fantasy of knowing, oh, that's how 2 pieces of wood come together to make this set that creates this fantasy, that creates this world. Excuse me, 1 second, guys.
We're good.
Please.
We're good.
Yeah.
And while Ryan is performing his dad duties, again, Bobby, Patricia, Dr. Vibe, take one of those screens, jump in, join us, ask any questions, or just join us. Okay, I'm sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, so there is that. Number 2 is, if you really want to do the business, then there's so many opportunities for you to go and just, like, right now technology is so cheap that you can take your cell phone. Everyone is working with a huge camera right now that they can tell great stories. Remember a film called Tangerine was shot in an iPhone, and
really
went on to go for the Academy Award nominations. I think won the Sundance Film Festival Audience Choice Awards. We have the power to tell stories, and we just got to go out and do it. Look at yourself right now, picking up vocal and telling a story. This is a TV show of sorts. So the technology is there. So just go out and say, I might fall flat on my face, but I'm doing it. Number 3 is stay hungry. Because if you're not hungry, you're not willing to fight harder for what you want. And that's what keeps me going every day. I think of tomorrow as being my day that I'm going to be successful. And that's what I'm passionate about.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And again, Ryan, I know you see our friend has joined us.
Yeah.
Dr. Vibe, it's great to have you, sir. And listen, Ryan, I always tell people that I believe in giving people credit where credit is due. Dr. Vibe actually talked me into taking a shot at this. He and I were discussing something a while back during Do You Know What Time It Is on his show, Do You Know What Time It Is? And he and I talked a little bit about it. And I thought about it. I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. So it's great to have Dr. Vibe here with us. And I have to give him credit for me being here
on this platform as well on this podcasting experience. And so I really appreciate the opportunity as well. Thank you, brother.
Hey man, he is a phenomenal brother. Listen, I know that you're beautiful children, and see, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Because we had this question. I know that your beautiful children are also involved in the industry. Can you share with us any trepidations that you and your wife may have had prior to getting them involved in the industry? You had any trepidations about that? I know they're with you right now. I know that they're going for a shoot in the morning because you've been so kind as to share that with us, but that you and your wife have any trepidations prior to getting them involved in the industry?
Yes, the only trepidation is being them becoming spoiled, entitled kids. I mean,
okay.
I can say, and Dr. Vibe spent hours when we went up to Ottawa and come back, a 5-hour drive, and then almost not making it to set the next day because it was my stay on Designated Survivor. My wife is probably one of the biggest supporters one can ever ask for doing this business. And so when I said to her, hon, I want to get the kids involved in this acting stuff and so on, she herself is a hidden gem of an artist. She's done the piano lessons all the way to the highest level, and an undercover singer. She's
okay.
I listened to her speak on television talking about the healthcare services, and I'm like, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. You're so fantastic. I spent years training for this stuff, and you just do it so naturally. I'm encouraging her to open up her own podcast. But she's such a wonderful supporter, and one cannot live without the support of people that is on their sides, because this business is such a lonely business. It's full of rejections that you need someone that gives you a yes ever so often when you hear so many no's.
Absolutely. Well, listen, what are some of the specific obstacles and or challenges that may deter others from pursuing the industry? If you can share with us one or two specific obstacles that may be so insurmountable that people may decide against entering the entertainment business.
One of my teachers says you got to have talent for your talent. And if you live a life of fear, you will not pursue anything that you're passionate about. So you got to have talent for your talent. If you think you're talented, you put it out there. Number two is we can always bleed and say, oh, as a Black person, there's not enough opportunities for me. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. Then get up and create it. And so the obstacles are there. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough access. We didn't grow up in a line of people who can say, hey, buddy, this is how you do it, like fathers or Jewish children. Their parents grew up in business. Their parents grew up in an entertainment thing. So they grew up listening to the language all their lives. They grew up practicing even as children without themselves knowing. And so when they reach a certain age, the business can just be handed to them on a shorthand basis. We have to go through the longhand. And so that's a big obstacle. It's a big obstacle to understand the language or currency of everything that is expected. Because when you think you've reached there and you know what's happening, like for me, becoming a technician in August of last year, as a union technician, not just a technician, but as a union technician, and watching these craftsmen do their work was like awesome. I'm like in a kid in a candy store just looking at the options, and this, you probably can see the anxiety on my face right now. It's
Yes, I can.
it's amazing. I saw someone that I admired as he taught his 16-year-old son. He's going to be working on set tomorrow. And I've said, I admired seeing your work 3 years ago and how you encourage your son to be a part of the industry, showing him how to do it and do it right. I'm like, I'd like to get to know you better, and I'm partly because of him. And here I am at a hotel with my child being on one of the sets that he's going to be working on. And this is the wonderment of this business, is that you gotta be wanting to learn more and willing to do more.
Okay. Dr. Vi, would you have any questions you'd like to ask our friend Ryan?
Just want to say greetings to both you, Ryan. Long time. Hope you're doing fine. And it sounds, and he is right in regards to his dear wife is a gem. And when the time is right, when she releases her gifts to the world, it'll be outstanding.
She is releasing it. She just got a new job.
Yeah. Yes, that's fantastic. Ryan, just a quick question for you, and I'll jump off. A two-part question in the same realm. First of all, how has your life changed since you became a father? And then how has your view on the entertainment industry changed since you've got your children involved in that business?
Excellent question.
Whoa.
Excellent question.
Okay. I did a short film a while back called Mr. Crab, in which I played a father. And prior to playing Mr. Crab, I was this happy-go-lucky, I think I know everything, I think I can do everything, cocky son of a bitch. Well, not a bitch, but the expression.
No, go ahead, man.
I was self-entitled. Becoming a father has humbled me. And I live knowing that the work I do, I want them to be able to see it and to say, that's my daddy. I like his work. This is kind of work that I want to do as well. And that's what I have come to realize and experience. My son I just posted a poster on my Facebook page of my son starring in a film. And I watched him work 6-7 hours in the cold, a consummate professional. I was like, this is my son, but I'm learning so much from this man, 6-year-old child. I'm looking at my daughter and she has a different personality. I'm like, this is my daughter. I'm learning so much because they're bringing an innocence to them where I'm bringing so much baggage, so much learning, so much years of rejection. And perhaps my work has become stilted because I'm putting all of this energy, desire, desperation into my work, and they're just having fun.
That's powerful. Dr. Vi, keep going. Okay. No, brother, no. Stay with us. Stay with us. Keep going. Keep going.
I can only stay for a few more minutes because I'm cooking, so I'll stay for a few more. Ryan, how has in your opinion, from not only being behind the camera but being in front of the camera, how has the entertainment industry changed, good, bad, or not at all, for blacks
as
in your
we
opinion?
Speak? There's a new movie being produced by Queen Latifah and such about the Clark sisters. It's a cast of black people from Detroit, from Motown. It's changing every day. We see Black Panther being the biggest movie of the year on record, and we see Spider-Man with a black spider character, even though he's animated, it's a black spider character. Spider-Man character, and you're like, there's so much more opportunities happening. I'll bet it's coming slowly, but it's coming more steadily right now than ever before. And I can say that I'm much more optimistic about the future of my career in the industry than ever before, because I can see those opportunities coming to me.
And I just want to interrupt you saying that, because I want people to know how long you've been in the industry.
35
you're
years
saying that now.
at least. Yeah.
And you're saying that you're
I'm more excited now because roles are being written for white people, but then they say a black person can actually play this. Roles are. I was sitting in a talent agent's room one day. I went to do an audition with my colleague who is a talent agent, and waiting for him. And in that room, the admin received a call, and it was from a person of Caucasian descent, complaining that every time he goes into the room, it's not for him. Or every time he sees a casting, it's not for him, it's for somebody that's black. But yet 90% of the roles are still cast as white. But the one or two opportunities that we get as persons of color, there's so much complaint and upheaval rather than, oh, it's great, we now get to showcase the world. And so we have a tough battle, not only in showing up present, prepared, and professional, but we also have a battle of knowing that there are naysayers that want to cut us down and keep us in our position, in our place, where we're supposed to be absent and silent.
Powerful.
On that note, I'm going to jump off because
this is good, man.
Hey, man, stay with us, brother. I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying this.
I don't want my food to burn. I don't want my food to burn because I do need to eat. I do need to
yeah. Hey, man, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it, and enjoy. But please come back if you get the opportunity.
Don't leave me out to the Sunday night conversations, huh?
Yeah, and Ryan again. Hey, you know what? I stopped inviting you because you just seemed so busy. And the last time we chatted, it sounded like you had a lot of things to do. But if you want to come back,
anytime, man, anytime.
I'll certainly start sending you the invites again. Okay, considered it done. Again, gentlemen, have an outstanding time, and definitely, Ryan, all the love to you and your wonderful kids and your wonderful wife. Do say hello and hug them.
Will do for sure, brother.
Appreciate if you would do that. All right, be well.
Here we go. Great. Listen, Ryan.
Onward.
When you are when you know, I like to use the word premiere because that's what we do anytime we do things, because we work at being perfectionists. So when you're creating a piece to premiere, what is your biggest concern? You know, this piece that you really, well, I'm sure that most of us, anything that we do, we want it to be something that's really, but also there are pieces that we feel maybe a little more strongly about than others. When you are working to create one of those, what is your biggest concern?
So, Mr. Crab.
Mr. Crab, okay.
Mr. Crab, we did a shoot. It was my best shoot ever. We got invited to CBC Face Off, and there it was. I'm like rallying up the troops, so we were all saying, this is going to be great. Our show is going to hit where it needs to hit. It's going to do very well. And then the first show showed, and we all look at each other. We're like, that was good. That shit was good. And we all know where our film was sat after the first showing. And the thing that you want is that you want that your piece resonates with its audience. So when I went to Fried Bakes and Dumplings in Jamaica, the film started to play, and you have a link. You can take a look at it and let me know what you think. This film started to play, and people started to chat with the screen.
Okay.
And they started to talk with the screen and they started to relate with the screen. One thing as artists, when we premiere a show, we want to know that that universal audience we're reaching for, we really hit them, and that they're responding in kind because this is something that they see themselves in and they can experience and relate to. And that's what we want, is that this story that I've labored 6, 7, 8, 10 years of my life on works and people connect with it.
Well, that it sounds kind of like, and Jada was on the call as well last night on Dr. Vibe. We were listening to Karen. It sounds like the same with being a speaker or a keynote speaker. I do a lot of speaking myself, and that's what you seek and that's what you look for. And I guess I'm happy to hear you say that on several fronts, because as I shared, having been in the entertainment industry as being a manager of music artists, when you're in that studio and you feel like something is really going to be a hit, it does give you a certain adrenaline rush. And I just wanted to hear you share that with us, how that would work. Listen, I know we're pushed for time, and you have to get with your babies because they have something in the morning, a casting in the morning. But with a few more questions and we'll be done. Now, how vital is it to turn an artist to be interconnected with writers and producers? Do you think that is a prerequisite to getting roles? If they have a kind of foot in the door, or they know the producers and they may know some of the writers?
So you answer it this way for me. How did you get me here? You built a relationship with me.
Absolutely.
Right? And so
absolutely.
Let's say I was Will Smith.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You built a relationship with me. It was a first person shorthand experience.
Yes.
Right? So you can't be shy with letting people know that you exist.
Yes.
And if you're a person that is shy, you got to let your work speak for yourself. Right? Because someone must say, that person makes me comfortable. That person makes me feel safe. I'm comfortable supporting and endorsing their work. I want them to support my work. I want to showcase them. I want them to showcase me, because
right.
we're not independent creatures. We're interdependent creatures. Right? We support each other. You cannot be successful without having an audience. Right?
Absolutely.
You have to trust your work. You have to be credible. You can get away with things that are not credible, but it only goes for so long, and then the cookie crumbles.
Yes.
But when you build it with a strong foundation, when you build relationships with a strong foundation on an ethical ground, people respond. And success is not necessarily just about the money, how much you're bringing in. It's also about your credibility or your ability to execute on something you're asked to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the business of acting, is, can I see this person bringing me value? At the end of the day, it's called show business. So let's do business.
All right. Actually, it was going to segue into my next question, but you've already answered that, and that's having the contacts and being knowing individuals, etc. So listen, let's talk a little bit about the breadwinner. As again, I know we're pressed for time, but can you talk a little bit about the breadwinner, and the work that you produced for that particular animation?
Yeah. Again, what I just talked about in terms of relationship, in terms of connectivity, in terms of letting people know that you work. When I went to the premiere of The Breadwinner at the Toronto International Film Festival, I went on a sort of vibration. I was walking there, and as I went to the premiere, I saw the girl who introduced me to her mother her mother hired me to come and shoot the auditions and subsequently the recording sessions that was used as part of the behind the scenes, so to speak, of the Breadwinner promotional package. And the film went on to being considered for a Golden Globe, an Academy Award nomination, a multiple amount of Canadian awards, Annie Award, British BAFTA Award, the New York Critics Award, the LA Critics Award, the Toronto Critics Award. It won a number of awards across the world, and was nominated and received so much accolade. But my role was, it was such a small part. This was, in essence, a big film with a small crew. It was a small film with a big cast. It was a well-received film that was a passion project. And my role was capturing the behind the scenes, working closely with the director, watching her work with the actors, watching this Eurocentric person, seeing that multiculturalism is important and wanting to make sure that everything she touched was as authentic as possible. And for me, that was probably the biggest takeaway from that experience, is to see that you can make multiculturalism work. You just got to be willing and able to do it.
Wow, that's strong. Listen, let me ask Jada Lopez has joined us. I was trying to get her to come on with us, and Patricia, we're still asking you to come on with us. But Jada was asking, first of all, are you from Canada? And she also wants to know, did you use Periscope from back in the day?
Don't know what Periscope is. I live in Toronto. I am from Guyana, South America. You probably know a couple other people. I think something Thomas. I forgot his name. I had him on my page recently. Thomas, he is from Guyana, and that girl from the Black Panther, Sister Suri, she's from Guyana. Yes. Cici Pounder is from Guyana, or Guyana roots. Sidney Poitier played a professor that was the story of the writer. The writer was from Guyana, and so Sidney Poitier portrayed a Guyanese person. So that's where I'm from. You probably know Guyana best as the place where don't drink the Kool-Aid. Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Killing 1,000 people.
Yeah. So. Well, listen, Jada, please feel free. Any more questions you have for us, please feel free to ask. Bobby and Patricia, please feel free. While we're waiting on those questions, Orion, what advice would you give to aspiring entertainers, regardless of their genre of interest? Just entertainers in toto.
One, know what it is that you want to do. It can change, but know what it is that you want to do. Two, find mentorship. Mentorship is very important. Whether you go to classes, whether you find a network, an online community on social media. Facebook has a number of different communities that one is able to say, hey, let's do some work. I've actually gained work out of that engagement. Three, if you create something, let people know about it. Get somebody to write something about you. Tell the story, sell your stuff. If you're an actor in a play, bring audience, invite 2 or 3 people, because it cannot be successful and it will not stay on air or on stage if people don't know it's happening. There's a lot of artists who think, oh, I'm an artist. The producer has to do this. No, you are the producer of your own career. And the producer is giving you an opportunity to make you successful. Build your audiences. And 3, be complimentary and encouraging to the other artists that are working around you. Work with them, help them, build them. Build a teacher. Every teacher was once a student. and every student becomes a teacher. So you never know the person you're training up if you'll have to ask them for a job later on. So be nice to the community around you.
Excellent, excellent. Well, listen, as I said, I know your kids have a shoot. Do you mind, if I'm not intruding, do you mind sharing with us what your kids will be working on tomorrow for their shoot? I mean, what does it entail?
It's a commercial, but that's as much as I can say.
What you can tell us? Okay.
That's as much as I can say. It's a commercial. Recently, my daughter played a small role in a documentary docudrama. My son just finished shooting a short film that's going to be coming out soon called Silent. I can talk about that. He plays a homeless boy who goes to a record store and he has to navigate the world of his homelessness and the world of his refuge. And when the two collide, what happens? And for me, I'm working on a couple of projects. One of a lady caught up in Sri Lanka, being on the siege for 6 days and trying to get out safely and alive. And I happen to have been there with her. Been working on that project for 5 years. The incident happened between 2013 and 2014. New Year's Day, it climaxed, and I'm alive to still be working on it and tell the story. And one about South Africa, going to South Africa the year Nelson Mandela died in 2013, and experiencing South Africa and what Nelson Mandela meant to the country, and ultimately what he means to the world, that beacon of hope. And those are two projects that I'm passionate about and look forward to getting done this year for sure. And so I'm excited about it.
Wow. I always wanted to meet Mr. Mandela. I always wanted to meet him. And I have always, I followed him closely, and it was very, very, I'll be honest, it was very disturbing. I mean, I know everybody has to die, but it was very disturbing when he passed away, because I thought that there was some outside chance that I might get to meet him. And it's great to actually speak to someone that had some interactions.
Well, I got the chance. My wife was, ironically, 2 or 3 years ago, my wife, for the work she has done on Ebola, like I said, she was on television talking about the Ebola crisis and getting Canada prepared for what may have been a bad outcome, but emergency preparedness. And she received an award, a humanitarian award, and it was presented by Nelson Mandela's grandson. So, coming full circle, we had that opportunity to really chat and talk for a little bit, and as a family. So that was nice.
That's great. Well, listen, congratulations to your wife, and it's great. As promised, since you have a lot to do, I know it's 2 minutes to 8. If you will, first of all, let me thank Dr. Vibe and Patricia and Jada and Bobby and those that I can't see, because well, actually, some of them I can't see because of I don't have all the screens up. But the ones that I see and the ones that I don't see, we're really pleased that you came to join us. Ryan, I see that you listed on the board some contact information. Would you mind verbalizing that for us, telling us how we can contact you?
Yeah, people can reach me through my website, ryansingenterprises.com. I'm also a photographer, amongst the other things I mentioned earlier. You can also reach me Facebook, Ryan Singh Enterprises, Instagram, Twin Papa 321. Twitter is Ryan Singh Media. I know it's all over the place, but if you just type in Ryan Singh, this handsome mug comes up. This handsome mug.
Look out for the handsome mug, huh? Okay. Well, listen, I can't speak to that, but I'm sure Jada and Patricia and some of our female guests can speak to that. I'm not hating, and I'm not homophobic. It's just that
you can say it, man. Let's hear you say it. Let's hear you say it. You sure is handsome, boy.
But I will say this, my brother. We will certainly allow a platform for you to be able to share your sentiments, and we will allow our sisters to make their comments as they feel. As they feel.
Okay, man. I'm open.
As they feel necessary. But listen, guys, again, we've enjoyed everyone being here with us. I am the Nobody Asked Me guy. My mother named me Melvin Lars. You can find me at www.dyingonmyfeet.com. Once you get there, you can find me on most social media mediums, on all of them, actually. I have buttons there that you can just go to. I'm also a writer as well. I've been discussing with Ryan about doing my life story about surviving acute promyelocytic leukemia. I am a 29 in November, if I see November of 19, of surviving a catastrophic illness that I was told that I would not survive for 6 months. So I'm still here. We're still kicking. I'm also a poet. There are a lot of things I've done, but if you go to that website, www.dyingonmyfeet.com, then you can find a little bit more about me if you're so interested. Again, I want to thank Ryan for being here, and Jada and Patricia and Bobby and all of our friends. I see Camille just joined us, and I know you have to go, Ryan. I saw your baby. Listen, I don't remember her. You told me her name, so I'm on air talking to the world. So telling the world I can't remember your baby's name. What is her name?
Ava and Sebastian Singh.
Ava and Sebastian Singh, and I see that Ava is ready for her dad. We saw her laying on you, so she's saying, "Come on, Dad, it's time to go." So, as being a man of your word, you were very kind to take the time to share with us, and hopefully we will be doing this again. I want to wish Ava and Sebastian lots of luck. Well, they don't need luck. I just want to wish them a good day on their shooting in the morning.
Yeah, they have a mini vacation right now, and I'm sure they're going to have a great time. Thank you for the opportunity and the platform to be able to share my story, and I hope that the audience enjoyed what I had to say and are inspired to continue pursuing their own dreams and showcasing their talent in as best a way as possible. So good luck.
Thank you very much. So listen, take care, guys, and we're going to call this a wrap. We are moving forward. I'm going to stop the broadcast now, my brother.